Welcome back into the Film Room. I'm your host, Eric Turner, and in today's Cover 1 Film Room feature, we're going to break down the Sean McDermott defense against the Chargers. The Bills defense did a good job overall against the Chargers offense. They held them to a 36.9% success rate on that side of the ball. And I thought as the game went on, their pass rush and coverage became more in sync. I thought that in the second half especially, the Bills defensive line, specifically their interior defensive line, really stepped up their game and created the havoc that the Bills needed against the inexperienced quarterback Easton Stick. So while this game was a little too close for comfort, the Bills pulled it out and they kept their playoff dreams alive. So without further ado, let's jump into some of this defensive film to show you how Sean McDermott's defense stood up at critical moments in this game. The Chargers get 23 yards on this throw up the seam. It looks like the Bills are trying to disguise it as man coverage with Cam Lewis following Palmer across the formation, but post snap you're going to see them rotate into their quarters coverage look with the backside of the coverage in man coverage right here, and then they're just flooding the zone to the field side out here. And Easton Stick does a great job of working this seam route as that wide receiver gets up the field past Taran and Palmer pulls the coverage over the middle. There's a nice spot in the seam there, and Stick with one hell of a throw to expose that coverage for a 23-yard gain. Now it's time for the Bills defense to go to work from the 9-yard line. Chargers motion Eckler into the formation. They have a nub tight end set, so it's trips to the top of the screen, nub tight end in line to the bottom, and they're trying to get a hat on a hat, use the numbers in their favor. Offensive lineman on the linebacker, running back on the corner, Douglas, and then Stick is going to have an alleyway up the sideline for the touchdown, but the Bills do a good job of stringing this play out. So Douglas is a contained player, and once again, the Chargers have a hat on a hat, so this should be a touchdown. Douglas loses contain, but it's the scraping by the linebackers in Tyrell Dodson, Terrell Bernard, at stringing this play out. That forces Stick to just run out of bounds. He runs out of real estate because of the speed and pursuit of the Bills defenders on this play. So even though the Chargers had a hat on a hat, the Bills' effort and speed strung this play out to minimize that to a 2-yard gain. The Chargers did a great job of shifting and motioning prior to the snap to test the discipline and assignment sound defense of the Bills. And the motion at the snap also was a challenge. But watch on this play. The Chargers are expecting the Bills to be in man coverage, and they're expecting Taran Johnson to follow this wide receiver across. But what the Bills do is rock and roll, so they'll send the safety over with that wide receiver. And they're just trying to pull Taran Johnson away from the point of attack because the Chargers are running off the right side of the line, and they get 5 yards on this play. But if it wasn't for this little wrinkle in the coverage and the defense by the Bills, I think Eckler scores on this play. So watch what happens on the snap. There goes a receiver. There goes a wrap over the top. You see Taran Johnson kind of bump back and become a quasi-safety here. On the snap, what the Bills are doing is they're spiking Lawson inside, and they're exchanging that gap with Dodson. So Dodson's supposed to play over the top, but you see he kind of gets stuck inside here when really this is Lawson's hole. Dodson should be right here, but that's all right. They have help on the back end. Shaq does a great job of slowing Eckler down right there and causing him to be off balance. And Taran is right there to make the tackle with the backside defensive tackle, Tim Settle. So good work at adjusting to the shift and motion by the Bills. And then Taran Johnson being there to insert and to cover up for the mistake by the linebacker Dodson. All right, on to the money down. 3rd and 2, the very next play. Inside the 5-yard line. Just great communication by the Bills defense at the linebacker level and secondary level to shut down this play, force Easton Stick to essentially throw it away late in this play. So look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to shift and motion at the snap to, again, challenge the Bills' assignments and communication. And you can see the communication's happening. Taran, Bernard, Poyer. And what the Chargers are trying to do, they're trying to influence the Bills defense. So they have 3 eligibles to the top of the screen. And this first receiver is the drag. He is just pulling coverage to the middle of the field. Now, what they want the Bills to do is to pay attention to Eckler coming out of the backfield. They want Jordan Poyer and Rasul Douglas to get their eyes on Eckler on this play, and they want to jump him so they can run the follow concept, the follow route right here by the tight end, right behind that shallow drag. Bernard is there to take it away, to help leverage that route with Rasul Douglas. So Bernard takes that away, and now Easton Stick is in trouble. He has nowhere to go. The coverage is great outside. These guys are shut down. The push call by Bernard put him right at the tight end's lap, and then the shallow drag was passed on to Dodson. That's taken away. So now Stick has to read the entire field, and there's just nothing there. He tries resetting. The coverage is still very good, and he ends up throwing the ball in the direction of Palmer, and it goes incomplete. Fantastic communication here in the low red zone. So while the Chargers did move the ball at times in this game, on these money downs, in those critical situations, Sean McDermott's defense stood up. They communicated well. They knew their assignments pre to post snap, and they shut down these money play downs, especially in the red zone. And that happened the entire day. We're in the second quarter now, and the Bills drive stalls out because they get behind the chains because of an offensive holding call. But Sam Martin does a great job of punting it 56 yards to the 4-yard line of the Chargers. And the Bills' run defense steps up, and the defense overall stepped up on this drive. So, once again, getting the shift, you're getting the motion. On the snap, the penetration really blows this play up. So you get Settle slanting inside, you get a gap exchange by Miller. They blow up the play at the point of attack, and then you're getting Poyer and Dodson and Johnson coming downhill, playing fast to make the tackle on Eckler to minimize that gain. It's a 4-yard gain, but once again, the Chargers are backed up, and the penetration minimized this gain and got population to the ball. Fast forward to 3rd and 6 after the incomplete pass to Gerald Everett, the tight end. And the Chargers on 3rd and 6 here try setting up the wide receiver screen. But once again, the speed and pursuit by the Bills defense really shuts this play down. You see the corner come up in Benford, and then you get the pursuit right here from Johnson, Lewis, and it's Bernard who comes from width to shut this play down in the alley. Watch from the end zone angle. Watch the speed. Quick pass out wide here. Oliver and Floyd get upfield so quickly. I think that threw off the timing of this play and caused Stick to kind of double clutch. And that allows, again, the defense to pursue on this play. And look at Bernard. He gets over the top of that block and lays a hit on Palmer at the point of attack to force 4th down. And why was that play important? Because the Bills got the ball back at their 43-yard line. So great field position on this play. And this is the touchdown pass to Gabe Davis. Outside of structure, down the field for 57 yards. Fantastic work by Allen at manipulating the pocket on this play. So the Bills are executing their curl swing. So typically they want to work Davis to Cook on this play. And Josh is looking immediately, but he notices that the corner is going to drop off of Davis and pass Davis to the linebacker. So he doesn't like that in the hook to curl area or on the swing route to Cook. So he immediately moves on to Kincaid, and he's running that juke route in the slot. Pretty good matchup versus Kendricks, whose talents have kind of gone down the last couple years. But Kincaid slips, and so he's taken out. So the number 3 is taken out. Shakir is going to be wide open. But as you can see, Josh is under pressure from the pocket. He does a great job of sensing that backside pressure to the top of the screen and then getting back out that side of the pocket. And that's when Gabe goes into the scramble drill mode. And the rule for that is, hey, if you're short, you go deep. If you're deep, you go short. So you'll see Davis immediately get matched up in this plaster type situation against Murray, the linebacker. The safety and DBs jump Shakir on the shorter route. And that gives Davis the one-on-one down the field, and he wins on this play for a huge swing here. The Bills were down 10-0 here. This was a huge swing in the game. And it all started because of the nice punt by Sam Martin and the defensive stop by the Sean McDermott's defense. Watch it from the end zone angle. Mac, from the right side here, does a great job of spiking inside and getting right on the doorstep of Josh. And as Mac spins back out wide. McGovern's right there to help out, to buy just enough time. Now, Brown gets beat around the edge, around the arc, but Josh senses that and he feels it. So what's he do? He gets back out that front door, acquires his target downfield, and then throws a nice soft throw up and over the top of the linebacker, right into the hands of Gabe Davis. He's able to reel it in, and the momentum began to swing in the Bills' favor. All right, let's fast forward to the second half. After a 4-yard gain and then a 15-yard penalty on Taran Johnson for unnecessary roughness and a 14-yard reception from Eckler, the Chargers now have the ball at the Bills' 42-yard line, and they run this zone run for 2 yards. But look at the team defense here. Look at the communication prior to the snap. Look at Bernard, Taran Johnson, Shaq Lawson along the defensive line. Everyone on the same page, throwing up the same hand signals for the coverage. They understand the coverage. They understand the run fits. And then team defense all along the front seven. So on the snap, I want you to watch Shaq Lawson right here and how he flashes into that gap at the point of attack versus a very good tackle. He flashes into this gap right here. Taran Johnson is out wide containing the play. Bernard does a great job of ricocheting off the block and staying over the top of the block by the guard Zion Johnson. And as soon as Eckler bounces because of that flash of color in the gap right there by Lawson, you see Taran, you see Bernard, you see the backside defensive tackle all come down the line of scrimmage to make the tackle and to minimize this play to only 2 yards. On the very next play, 2nd and 8 situation here. Stick tries hitting Eckler, but there's a miscommunication to the top of the screen on what looks like an option route, and the ball goes incomplete. But I love this Tampa 2 creeper pressure by the Bills from the boundary. So on the snap, the Bills are going to rotate into a Tampa 2. Cam Lewis is dropping down from his safety spot into that deep hole, and Johnson's becoming a split field safety on this play. Dodson and Lawson are coming from the top of the screen, and because they're releasing 5 guys into a route, Lawson's unblocked. And that is what causes Stick to have to get rid of the ball. But Eckler's trying to get up the seam here. What Stick reads is an out route by Eckler, so he throws it, and only Rasul Douglas is there on the play. So a very good disguise on this play and rotation by the Bills. It's only a 4-man rush, but the 4-man rush is schemed up really well versus the Chargers pass protection. That gets the free rusher and Shaq Lawson on Stick quickly. He is forced to get rid of the ball, and it goes incomplete. So on 3rd and 8, the Bills get a sack by Rasul Douglas on a cornerback blitz from the boundary to the top of the screen. And it's a risky call. It's a risky blitz given the situation and how they leave that tight end uncovered completely up top. But these are the type of play calls that you can use against quarterbacks that don't have many starts underneath their belt. Stick is starting to the bottom of the screen, and honestly, he has Palmer if he wants to throw this underneath. But it is 3rd and 8, so Palmer's going to have to do some of the legwork to get past the sticks with everyone playing zone coverage, playing with zone eyes, and coming downhill. But if he does complete it and Palmer is still short of the first down, they're in field goal range for their kickers. So there are points to be had on this play regardless. These are the type of plays, especially in hindsight, knowing that Douglas comes here. If he just gets it to Palmer, they have a shot. But instead, he holds on to it because of the rotation. Douglas is unaccounted for, and he gets the 10-yard sack to knock the Chargers out of field goal range. I must say, the Chargers did a great job of picking this up initially. So the Bills have several defenders up near line of scrimmage. They're mugging the A-gaps. Post-snap, they send Douglas, Rousseau, Oliver. Poyer's going to pop out underneath. Bernard's coming. Poonaford's coming. Floyd is going to occupy that tackle, then pop out underneath as well, which hopefully opens up Taran Johnson off the edge here. But Isaiah Spiller, the running back, did a great job on this play to the left of Stick. So on the snap, he's checking Poyer. Poyer pops out. He gets his eyes out wide to Taran Johnson, picks him up. But Douglas is unaccounted for on this play. And he's actually supposed to be accounted for by Easton Stick. But because of where Stick started his progressions and how he looked to Palmer, passed that up, then looked over the middle of the field, realizes that Poyer's underneath that. He holds onto the ball for half a click long, and boom, the blitz gets home. So yes, on 3rd and 8, this was a risky call, but it was such an important, aggressive call by the Bills because it knocked the Chargers out of field goal range, and it played to the blind spot of an inexperienced quarterback here, and that forced the Chargers to punt. So we're still in the third quarter here. Josh throws an interception, attempting to hit Diggs deep down the field over the middle, and that interception sets up the Chargers with the ball at their own 42-yard line. And they drive all the way down the field to the Bills' 22-yard line here, where we're going to pick up. It's a 1st and 15 situation because of the illegal formation on the prior play. So on this play, Stick checks it down to Eckler for 2 yards. And it's a simple play. It's the Bills playing their Tampa 2 coverage. But once again, look at the communication prior to the snap. Watch Bernard right there, calling the coverage, setting the coverage against this 2x2 set. And they space it beautifully down the field. And it forces Stick to just check it down. And you have defenders and Benford and Johnson there to rally versus the talented running back. But I want you to remember this rush by Ed Oliver here on this little check down. Watch the move inside he makes on the hezzy rush as the center is going to help on Linval Joseph. Look at that inside move versus that guard and how disruptive Ed is on that play. I want you to remember that for a couple plays later. 2nd and 13 here, just a 4-yard gain by Spiller out of the backfield. But look at the communication prior to the snap. There's the motion. Bernard setting the coverage here, calling their trap coverage. When he points to his elbow, that's their trap coverage, a quarter's variation. And I love the spacing on this play and discipline by the Bills defense. So you have 3 eligibles to the bottom of the screen. Palmer's running to the post. You're having a sail route or deep out route by the tight end. And then the diagonal or flat route by the running back to the passing strength of this formation. And just watch how these 4 defenders right here box this play and trap this play. So there's a skinny post right here. And Douglas carries it and then passes it to the safety. Peels off to leverage the out route by the tight end. Look at Dodson. Look at his drop. Squeezing that intermediate route by the tight end. Eyes on the quarterback. Very good zone drop in depth. And as that quarterback checks it down, because of how the Bills are leveraging the 2 vertical threats, now they can get guys to the ball to make the tackle, to minimize the gain on this play. Just great work overall by the Bills. Not just the passing strength, even to the weak side of the formation. So you're getting a drag right here and then a dig right here. So Johnson drives on the shallow route. The safety drives on the dig route. He gets replaced by Benford. Just great communication and understanding of the route concepts, shutting everything down from high to low, forcing the ball to go underneath on 2nd and 13. And they're there to rally and make a play on the ball to force 3rd down. All right, money down, 3rd and 9. The Bills get a sack from Poona Ford on this play. But look at the communication again prior to the snap. Watch everybody communicating. Ed Oliver for the first level. Bernard communicating to him. And then the communication between the DBs. Like, just look at everyone communicating as the Chargers shift in motion prior to the snap. Look at the communication going on. Everybody is on the same page versus this offensive set here. And Stick is looking to the bottom of the screen. And it looks like the Bills are pretty much manned up right here on the backside of this play. And he's trying to get it to Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver, to the bottom. But Douglas chokes that route off. That's taken away. And the pressure is immediately in Stick's face on this 3rd and long. And that forces him to step up in the pocket. And Poona Ford's there for the sack. Just look at the communication going on prior to this snap. Bernard communicating with Rapp on the back end. Rapp communicating with the other secondary players. You see Bernard talking to Poyer. And he's even looking down at Ed Oliver. Hey, what rush are we doing here? What are we in here? He lets Ed Oliver know. So there's so much communication going on here from what Anthony likes to call the air traffic controller and Terrell Bernard. But let's get to the pass rush. The pass rush from Ed Oliver, I told you to pay attention to it 2 plays prior because he uses a similar move against this guard. So he rushes and then attacks that A-gap. And when he does that, you're going to see that guard punch inside right there. He power steps inside to take away that inside lane. And so what does Ed do? He throws him aside and goes back out wide to force Easton Stick to step up in the pocket. And then Poona Ford steps up and he's there for the sack. So the communication prior to the snap, the spacing and coverage post-snap, along with the rush from the Bills, we're playing together here. There was complementary football on this play, on this third and long play. The rush and coverage worked so well together here, and it forced Easton Stick to step up in the pocket to take the sack to force a field goal. Just great work by the Bills defense. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. We're in the fourth quarter now, 13:23 on the clock. This is a 1-yard gain. The Chargers took the ball at their 25-yard line and drove down the field. So you saw some bend but don't break in this game. This is another one of those drives where the Chargers drove down there, but then the defense of the Bills stiffened. And I thought the defensive line for a majority of the game had their moments where they were non-existent. But then in the second half, guys like Ed Oliver, Tim Settle, Poona Ford really stepped up their game and made the difference in this game. So this is a 2nd and 8 situation here. And you see Tim Settle as a nose guard get bounced over to the center, but plays with great hand technique and pad level there. You see him anchor at the point of attack. You see Bernard scrape over the top, and they both disengage at the point of attack and minimize this 2nd and 8 situation and minimize this run by Eckler to a 1-yard gain. On the very next play, a 3rd and 7 situation, Easton Stick tries hitting Palmer in the slot to the top of the screen, but Palmer bobbles the ball, and Taran Johnson makes sure to separate Palmer from the ball on this play. Bills send a blitz. They send Poyer. It's picked up beautifully by Eckler. Stick stands tall in the pocket as the Bills are playing essentially a combo coverage on Palmer on this play. This is another one of those plays where if Palmer breaks inside, you're going to have the safety overtake it. If he goes vertical or out, that's going to be Taran Johnson's guy. So it's a combo coverage here. But Palmer does a great job of recognizing it. He just sits right at the sticks. And as the ball arrives, he kind of takes his eye off the ball for a split second so he doesn't secure the pass. And then Taran Johnson lights him up to force the incompletion. So this was a pretty good call by the Chargers and good execution by Stick. Palmer has to have this, but because of the big hit from Taran Johnson, the ball goes incomplete and the Chargers have to kick another field goal. Fast forwarding a little bit, 4th quarter, 8:44 on the clock. This is a sack by Ed Oliver. The ball is spotted at the 30-yard line. It's a 1st and 15 because of the illegal shift by the Chargers on this play. They took possession of the ball at the Bills' 48-yard line after the punt by Sam Martin. So they got really great field position, but Ed Oliver on 1st and 15 here was able to get home on the play thanks to an assist from Poona Ford. So kind of paying back the favor here to Ed Oliver. So watch Poona as a nose tackle. The Chargers are sliding to the right side here. So they're sliding the center to help with Ed Oliver, of course. So you get a 2-on-1 here. And Poona recognizes the aggressive set by the offensive lineman. It's something that McDermott talked about in his presser, that the Chargers are doing a good job on early downs of getting their hands on the Bills' pass rush and kind of neutralizing them.
You know, I didn't think we were rushing well on early downs. I think they were doing a good job of getting their hands on us early, and then, but when we needed it, some critical 3rd downs, we had some big time sacks. Ed had 2 of them. Obviously, the last one was huge, just to burn so much time off the clock.
So Poona's aggressive on this play. He uses a spin move. He chops, spins outside, and immediately pressures Easton Stick. And now Stick is in scramble drill mode. And here comes Floyd and Oliver to clean up on the sack there on the back end. Fantastic work by the Bills pass rush late in this game in the 3rd and 4th quarter, complementing the coverage, but also attacking the quarterback and working together to help set up each other for sacks and pressures in this game. And this was a big one. This one set them back several yards to set up 2nd and 22. The Chargers are forced to once again kick another field goal to close the gap to 21-19. So the Bills take over the ball at their 25-yard line with 7:19 left in the game. And on the very first play, James Cook fumbles it and puts the Bills defense in a tough spot once again. The Chargers take possession of the ball at the Bills' 32-yard line. And on that first play, the Bills limit Eckler to a 1-yard gain on this play. And like I said, it was late in this game where the interior defensive line stood out, where they made plays in the run and pass game. On the snap, Chargers running a zone run. You see a gap exchange by Tim Settle. He spikes inside here. That disrupts the blocking. That keeps Bernard free. And they're able to minimize this gain by Eckler on this zone read, inside zone run type play. Look at the quickness and lateral step by Settle there. Point forward, anchoring, dropping that near knee versus the combination or double team on the backside. Great work by the Bills on this first down play. 3rd and 5 situation here, 6:13 on the clock in the 4th quarter. And the Bills dial up a tremendous simulated pressure here. So as you can see, several guys up near the line of scrimmage, and Bernard's the one that gets the sack. But this man coverage call, 4-man rush, is just beautiful. So man coverage across the board, the Bills drop out Rousseau, they drop out Shaq Lawson underneath, but they send the 2 inside backers, Dodson and Bernard here. You're going to get a pick by Dodson, so he's first, and then the looper is Bernard. He is essentially untouched, and he brings down Stick for the sack on the fringe of the field goal range. Watch how nasty this is from the end zone. Again, several guys up near the line of scrimmage, including those linebackers mugging the A-gaps. On the snap, Dodson is picking the center. Bernard is the looper. Eckler comes to pick up whoever is coming in that A-gap, but he hugs Dodson a little too tight here as to hold the depth of that pocket down. But that gives Bernard just enough room on the outside shoulder to swim that block and to get right into the face of Easton Stick, and he's there to bring him down for the timely sack. So great work by McDermott and his staff. When they dialed up these pressures, they weren't just blitzes. They were simulated pressures. They were creeper pressures. They sped up the process of Easton Stick and at times got him to hold on to the ball to process what covers they were on the back end, and then ran these little stunts and delayed rushes to get home, to stunt drives and to force field goals. Late in the game, the Bills drove down the field to kick the field goal to put them up 24-22. So now the Chargers are taking possession of the ball from the 30-yard line on 1st and 10, and Ed Oliver gets a sack here. And in the post game, Ed Oliver talked about trying this move earlier in the game and it working. Listen to Ed Oliver break it down after the game, courtesy of Thad Brown.
I had already hit the dude with the move earlier, and it was a penalty. So I said, I'm gonna keep that in my repertoire if I really need it. I just pulled it back out, the same thing. And he fell for it again. I said, all right, well, I went with it. Quarterback tried to climb the pocket. I was already on him.
So we saw Oliver kind of set up the guard to hezzy rush and then dive inside or spike inside a few times to disrupt the quarterback. Well, on this play, he's getting vertical. He's staying in the B gap. Miller is looping inside. Same thing with Rousseau. He's getting vertical. He's getting up the field and then becoming kind of that contained quasi-defensive end. Floyd is looping inside, and it almost looks like he is really just kind of a spy, kind of cleaning up after the other pass rushers kind of disrupt the quarterback. Ed Oliver gets vertical. He gets up the field, and he tries chopping down the hands of that guard, but the guard does a great job of using a circle punch, so he makes the hands disappear, gets his hands on Oliver. The problem is, Oliver is already up the field. He has a lane in between the guard and the tackle. He dips under those hands, and then he's already by the guard there. There's no way that guard can recover. Stick's eyes are downfield, so Oliver is there to clean up. And this was a big play because this is 1st down. The Chargers had no timeouts, so the clock continued to run after the sack by Oliver. But what's a Bills football game without a little drama at the end? So 3rd and 19, 1 second on the clock. Really nice play drawn up by the Chargers. So the Bills send out pretty much every defensive back that they have on the roster. They run a quick slant. The Chargers run a quick slant to the middle of the field, and Stick completes it. So he completes it to the wide receiver. Now that receiver is looking for Eckler coming across the field. The Bills' 2 defenders tackle that receiver. The receiver pitches it to Eckler. He runs across the field, and now you can see Easton Stick get outside the numbers right here as Eckler gets upfield. He's going to pitch it back to Easton Stick. But I want you to look at all of these offensive linemen right here. As Eckler's going across the field, look at those guys start to set up a wall to the bottom of the field. And you have Erickson waiting down here on the lateral to reverse the field. Stick gets the ball. He throws it backwards. And now the Chargers are hoping they have a caravan up the sideline here. But look at the play by Damar Hamlin and Christian Benford and how they recognize this developing right here. Everyone going to the bottom of the screen to the defense's right side. Their ability to contain this play, to work to the boundary right here over the top of that wall being set up, almost like a kick or punt return, that right there forces Erickson to have to cut it back up inside. Then you get the pursuit from inside out by Cam Lewis on this play, who runs probably about 5 miles on this play. And that right there is really the crux of this play and what shut this play down. This was a well-designed play, and it was there. The wall was there. But Benford and Hamlin did a great job of containing it, forcing it back inside, and then you get the pursuit from Lewis and the rest of the Bills to shut this play down, and the Bills end up securing this win on the road in LA. Thanks for tuning into that breakdown of the Bills defense versus the Chargers offense. If you like that breakdown, please smash that like button. Leave me a comment in the comment section and let us know what your favorite part of this game was. I'm Eric Turner, owner of Cover One, host of The Film Room every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And until our next breakdown, go Bills.